everybody, I'm Elizabeth Hines from OurPaleoFamily.com, and I'm back today with a really quick and of course delicious Instant Pot recipe. We're making chicken and rice burrito bowls, and in this case I'm keeping it paleo and we're going to use cauliflower for our rice, but you could absolutely use a white rice, jasmine rice, something like that if you prefer to have a little bit of grains in your diet. So I have gone ahead and riced my cauliflower. I have this was one pretty small head of cauliflower, and I just ran it through my food processor just on pulse so I could really control it, and invariably there will be one little chunk that's just sort of spinning in there and isn't getting chopped up. So I just dump it out and then put those chunks back in, because if you just keep it running until eventually it gets all of it, you'll end up with your rice way too fine for my taste. I think cauliflower rice is better when it's a little bit larger. I don't know if you can really see the size of these grains, but it's certainly not. There are some pieces in here that I would say are as big as a grain of rice. They're just not super fine like sand. So if you've ever bought cauliflower rice, I've only bought the Bird's Eye brand, but I know lots of, like even Trader Joe's sells it. So I can't speak to all of the varieties, but the Bird's Eye brand, which I really like, is a coarser, again, grain. And I like that. I think it works really well. So I tried to copy the same thing with the way I did my head of cauliflower. And in that regard, if you want to use a cauliflower rice that you buy from the freezer section, that's fine. Just most of those are pretty small. There's not a lot in each of those bags. You probably use 2 bags. Okay, so in here on saute more, so that's the highest saute setting, I have, you saw me pour about a tablespoon of avocado oil. So just an oil that tolerates high heat well. So coconut oil, avocado oil, palm shortening, something like that. Just give that onion a stir. That was one pretty small sweet onion. I'm just going to sprinkle in a little bit of salt. I have a seasoning mix that I'm using, but I just want a little salt to start drawing out the moisture in my onion. I have 2 pretty good sized cloves of garlic. I'm going to smash those up, and then I'll start working on my chicken. So for this dish, even though I much prefer dark meat chicken, I recommend white meat because it cooks in the same amount of time as your rice. Even whether you use cauliflower rice or traditional white rice, which is what I would recommend if you're going to go that route, they cook in 10 to 12 minutes. So if you want to do some dark meat chicken or chicken on the bone, it's going to cook longer. So white meat and rice, cauliflower rice or regular rice, go well together in the Instant Pot because of the similar cooking times. So I'm just going to give this a rough chop. I'm not going to worry too much about getting it super fine. This is a really, really fast dish. It's going to come up to pressure pretty fast because we don't have a lot of volume in there. And it's going to cook in 12 minutes. And actually, it could cook in 10. My meat is not completely thawed, so I'm going to do 12 minutes. But if your meat was thoroughly thawed, you could, this will be done in 10. So I'm just going to keep an eye on my onions, make sure they're not burning. I just want to kind of sweat them out, get them a little bit translucent. So I have just about 1 pound of chicken breast here. Like I said, it is a little bit frozen. I just want to cut this into bite-sized chunks. So with it frozen, it makes it a little bit harder to clean it. But as I cut it, if I find little bits of, fat or cartilage or something, I'll just chop that off. So in the Instant Pot instructions, they say for browning, you want to use the normal setting. Their levels are not they're not low, medium, high. They are more normal and less. But I have found that I like the more setting almost always because it's faster and your food doesn't burn unless you just absolutely don't pay any attention to it, which I'm right here, I'm paying attention. So I'm gonna go with faster just about every time. So again, this is just about 1 pound of chicken breast, boneless, skinless, because it's what I have from Butcher Box. We're starting to brown right in the middle. I'm gonna give them a chop. Scoop my garlic in. It'll just take a minute to start to get fragrant. And at that point, I want to have my chicken ready to go. I need to hurry up. Whoops. So I didn't follow my own rules. Generally, when I work with chicken, I will have a antibacterial wipe out and ready in case I do something like that. Throw the chicken across the counter. Just make sure I clean really well. So give that a stir. Smells really good. I'm going to toss my chicken in and then I'm going to pour in my seasoning. Okay, so here's my seasoning mix, and the recipe is on the blog. It's called Instant Pot Chicken and Rice Bowls. I wanted 2 tablespoons of that. I didn't quite have it. It's a combination of, I breathed it in, smoked paprika, oregano, salt and pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and a dash of chili powder. And I have written it up with the amounts that my family likes, that you might want to adjust. We don't do a lot of real spicy, so I just have like a dash of chili powder in there. And then I can save this and I'll have that for the next time I want to make this. Or Chaco, it's kind of just an all-purpose Mexican spice seasoning. Once I get just a little bit of browning on my chicken, then I'm going to add my cauliflower, my salsa, and we'll be ready to go and start cooking. Normally, if you watch any of my videos, you see that I will brown my meat, typically carefully. You know, I space it out so the meat's not crowded in there, and I allow it to brown on one side, I turn it. I at least brown 2 sides, typically. But in this case, I just want to get a tiny bit of caramelization going for the flavor, and then we're going to get on with it. We have a lot of flavor from our spices that we added. We don't need to rely on the flavor from browning. So it just makes it faster. And you can see from the overhead shot, we have some good browning there on the bottom, which some of that is from the onion, and it's mostly from the spices actually. I'm just going to let that sit for a minute without touching it. Okay, so let that brown for just about 5 minutes. And get my cauliflower. If you were going to use regular rice, I would recommend 1 cup of rice. And then you're going to need to add, I'm just adding, my liquid is going to be this jar of salsa, 16 ounces or 2 cups. I'm going to rinse my jar, so there's going to be a little bit, like 1/4 cup of water in addition. But you could, you would need to add a full cup of water or broth. I recommend broth in addition for real rice. Okay, so here goes my salsa. So just choose a salsa that you like, one that you like the flavor, and check your ingredients. This is Kroger's organic brand, and what I look for when I read the ingredients on my salsa is I basically just want vegetables and some simple spices like garlic or cilantro. This one has black pepper and cumin, but I want no added sugar. So this one fit the bill. It's medium. It's even non-GMO, and it was just a couple dollars, so it's perfect. So I'm going to rinse this. So I just let the water just kind of slowly go around the rim so I get all that salsa out. And this is a 2 cup, so this is 1/3 to 1/2 cup of water that I'm adding. I'm not measuring and it's really okay. So we'll stir that in. The cauliflower, as you know, contains a lot of liquid, so it's going to give off the liquid that we need with the salsa, the little bit of water that we added, and then the liquid just naturally in the cauliflower will be all the liquid we need. Okay, so I'm going to kind of scrape down my edges to get everything down in there. And then we have to turn it off. Make sure our gasket is in there. Make sure this valve is on. This comes off. If you haven't had that happen, it comes off so you can clean. So make sure that's pressed down because it won't seal if it isn't pressed down. Turn to sealing. And then we want manual, not 60 minutes, I want 12 minutes. So just press the minus button until you get to 12. And I'll show you how we finish it up in a few minutes. Hey everybody, I just wanted to show you what I was working on while our chicken and rice bowl was cooking. So this is my little teaser to get you to go over to the blog and check out some different recipes. So it's spring and it's strawberry season and rhubarb season. So we went strawberry picking and have some beautiful fresh strawberries. There was really nice looking rhubarb at the grocery store. So I made a strawberry rhubarb cobbler, and it's Memorial Day. So happy Memorial Day, everybody. Thank you to those of you who serve and have served our country. And so we're having a cookout tonight with some family, and I'm taking this cobbler. So it's heavy. There's a lot of pounds of yumminess here. So head over to the blog and look up the strawberry rhubarb cobbler. It's totally paleo, which means our sugars are natural. There's maple syrup and a little bit of coconut sugar. And our crust is made out of almond flour and lard, and it is yummy. So this is going in the oven. And our chicken and rice bowl is done. Because I was busy finishing up the cobbler, I just let this sit for about 12 minutes, and then I did a quick release. But I have made this enough times to know, I can tell you honestly, that at the end of the 10 or 12 minute cooking time, the chicken is done. The rice or cauliflower rice is done. So you can do a quick release right then if you need to or want to. So just give this a stir. It looks delicious. It smells delicious. There's some liquid in there, which is fine with me. If you don't want any liquid, then you can simply turn saute on for a few minutes, and that liquid will largely cook out. You could add a thickener if you want, but we wanted a rice bowl, so that's what we have. Let me just give it a taste. Lots of spoons, but none of them are the right spoon. You just give this a taste for seasoning, and I'll tell you how we build that up. And I know that's super hot. So first you need a bowl. So my husband can eat dairy with no problem, so I'm going to make his like keto style. So he's going to have plenty of the chicken and rice, and then I'm going to load him up with some sour cream and cheddar cheese and avocado, and then of course we need some greens on top. If everybody in your household likes these things, you could mix some sour cream in. That would be very good. You could top it with cheese. You could put the lid on for a minute and then it would melt. You could stir that in however you want to do it. That's what's really nice about this kind of dish. If you've noticed, I make a lot of things like this that are very adaptable at the end. You can serve them as soup, like a stew. You can dry it out a little bit, and you could put this in a taco shell if you wanted. You could do all sorts of things. Put it on a salad, put it over baked potato, sweet potato, whatever you want to do. Let me give this a taste. It's really yummy, really yummy. So let me tell you a secret to this paleo living. You have to find what works for you. I'm going to go ahead and put the cheese on right now so it starts to melt. And I don't know why it is, but I like the taste of the frozen cauliflower rice a lot better than if I rice a cauliflower myself. Because when I rice it myself, it tastes like cauliflower. And the frozen stuff, to me, does not have that cauliflower, that sort of bitter flavor. Some people love cauliflower. I don't. And we use it, we eat it, it's good for us, blah, blah, blah. But I really don't like the flavor. So I prefer for it to be masked. So I have started splurging. I just did a post last week. I do this What We Ate Wednesday where I just show you what we've been eating through the week because people ask me all the time, what are you cooking for dinner? I have no idea what to cook. So I just started posting what I cook all the time. So you have ideas for how to put together a weekly meal plan or just when you can't think of what to cook. Okay, just give you some ideas. But in last week's post, I included a bunch of information about how we splurge because it happened to fall over my anniversary and Mother's Day. And one of the things I talked about as a splurge was that I buy this cauliflower rice. And I just happened to not have any, and I had a head of cauliflower, so that's why I did it myself. But because I like the flavor, or I guess the lack of flavor, so much better in the frozen kind, that is what I have been using for the most part. So anyway, this is fine. It just has a little bit of a stronger cauliflower flavor. Again, you could use rice if you wanted to. So his cheese is nicely melted there. I don't know why I have this giant spoon. I'm not going to give him that much sour cream. So some sour cream will make this look pretty with some avocado slices. I could have been really nice and fancy and actually made guacamole, but I was making a strawberry rhubarb cobbler instead, so I think he'll be okay with that. So I'll just kind of chop this up. I know it looks nicer. It would be very food blogger of me to leave these avocado slices in slices, but he's actually going to eat this, and I know it'll make it easier for him to eat like this. So that looks pretty, right? And then I'm just going to give him a big pile of greens on top that he can chop up and kind of mix in. So there's our cauliflower, not cauliflower, shh, don't say cauliflower. It's the chicken and rice burrito bowl. And it was very simple to put together, about 10 minutes and then 10 to 12 minutes cooking. So total, really, for the pressure to come up and pressure to come down, a 30-minute meal, and it's delicious and everybody can make it the way they want. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you have had, by the time you watch this, Memorial Day will be past. I hope it was a lovely holiday for all of you. And I'll see you again next time. Bye.